Happy Homebrew Wednesday, folks. Ryan here. Just enjoying some naked oatmeal cream stout. I still have the stuff. I can't seem to get rid of it. You know, it's good beer and all, but it's high alcohol and has lactose in it. And I'm starting to. I'm not sure if. I'm starting to think I'm lactose intolerant. I won't go into details, but anyway. I know last week I had a really short episode, so hopefully I can make up with some content this time. Oh, it is so good though. Oh, get you screwed up pretty fast though if you drink too many. 7%. Whew. I know I've said that before. Anyway, I got a couple gifts. I want to tell you about my gifts. I'm going to just move some things out of the way here. Gotta make room. Make room for the gifts. The first one. It's an extra pale ale from Northern Brewer. It's an extract kit. Let's see what it says here. It's OG 1045. Be ready about 6 weeks. So it's probably 2 weeks primary, 2 weeks secondary, and 2 weeks in the bottle. One of our most popular kits for well over a decade, this American style pale ale is clean, dry, and very hoppy. American hops are the driving force of this beer, featuring the unmistakable citrus, some say grapefruit aroma of Cascade up front, as well as its smooth bittering at the finish. Pale caramel malt counterpoints the hopping with a sweet grain aroma and gives this appetizing ale its medium body deep color. Okay, so let's see what the extra pale ale is made of. Jeez. I'm going to have to set this down, won't I? I'll put it over here on my lap. So first, where do we get our fermentables from? 6 pounds of the Mallard Malts Gold Malt Extract Syrup. 100% malted barley. Alright, that's cool. Some Optimus Rex Cascade hops, alpha acid is 6.5%. There's 3 ounces total. I don't know why they went away from using Hop Union. They used to use Hop Union, and the bags weren't as big as these for some reason. These are just 1 ounce bags. I think, yeah, 1 ounce. So I don't know. It seems a little wasteful. They use such a big bag for just an ounce of hops. Maybe it's just because the bags have a different design. It looks bigger or something. Then we have some steeping grains, which I will read. Let me read about this. Steeping grains here. What do we got here? This is 1 pound of Belgian Cara 8. That's all this is. One grain. We got a pound of it. Alright, so that's pretty easy. So 2 ounces of the Cascade hops go in at the right beginning of the boil. And 1 ounce goes in at 1 minute left. So, cool. Pretty simple brew. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing like a quick eat. Well, it's not really quick. Still an hour. Gotta do an hour, unlike those pre-hop kits. But I bet that'll come out to be some pretty good beer. And I got the Dry Dock Urca Vanilla Porter Partial Mash Kit. Now, this is based on an actual beer from an actual brewery. Dry Dock Brewing in, I want to say it's Colorado. I might have to double check that. Let's just read the description. Maybe it'll give us a clue here. Let's see. OG is 1061. Ready about 6 weeks, so same as the other one. A multiple gold medal winner at the Colorado State Fair, this decadent vanilla porter is sure to raise eyebrows. Most vanilla beer recipes use 1 or 2 vanilla beans. This one uses 5 and has the base recipe to back them up. A rich, smooth porter with hints of rum and molasses behind a coffee-like roasted character that infuse the fragrant vanilla. The final pint emanates a heavy vanilla perfume and makes for both a wonderful after-dinner drink or the ultimate ice cream float. Ooh, that would be good, wouldn't it? Put some ice cream in there? I've never put ice cream in beer. Alright. So, it is a partial mash. Keep that in mind. We have a crap ton of grains. A crap ton. That's about the equivalent of a crap ton. We'll go into what all's in there. Here's the vanilla beans. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 5 beans in this bag. This is the vanilla beans. Can't see them. They're not clear, obviously. But yeah, so I think you kind of cut those up and put them in secondary or something. So that'll be interesting. Never used vanilla before, so and here's those Optimus Rex hops. Looks like 3 ounces of Willamette. That's 4.7%. We have 3 of them. What is with these? Both these beer kits have one kind of hop throughout that they use. So that's funny. Let's see. We have 2 pounds of plain light dry malt extract, so 2 pounds. And 1 container, 3.15 pounds of gold malt extract. So let's see what we've got to do with this stuff here. The grains that are in there are, there's a pound of English Maris Otter. Yeah, I'm going to pull this out so I'm not echoing. 0.875 pounds of English medium crystal, 0.75 pounds of flaked barley, 0.5 pounds of Belgian aromatic malt, 0.5 pounds of British chocolate malt, 0.5 pounds of Belgian special B, and a 1/4 pound of English black malt. Alright. And all the hops go in one addition. Not 3 ounces in one spot, and that's at 45 minutes. And the vanilla beans, or they're calling it the Urca Porter Vanilla Bean Blend, are to be cut into pieces, and those get added secondary. So that's just what I thought. I did have to go buy yeast for this one, since it was a Christmas present. I did give some input on just order these 2 things, sort of thing. And I told them don't order the yeast because it only suggests liquid yeast, and I don't want it to die sitting in whatever closet this is going to be put in until Christmas. So went out and bought some 1056 American Ale yeast, which is what this one recommended. So it's a smack back. I'll probably do this one first. I haven't done a partial mash in a while. See if I can get all this stuff back in here. Yeah, that's going to be a pretty decent beer. Although, I'm still thinking maybe I'll do the other one first. I don't know, because it's sessionable. But I do have my British Bitter coming out. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I'll probably go back and forth. But, I do have the liquid yeast, so I probably should use it first before something happens. I get nervous about that stuff. Back in here. There we go. That'll be nice doing a Northern Brew recipe again. I haven't done any of theirs for a while. Well, where I didn't just go buy local stuff. They make good kits. If you ever want to get into doing partial mashes or whatever, there's a few good kits on there. I do want to talk about one thing. This isn't something I've done a whole lot, but I was thinking about it last night. Yeast starters. Yeast starter. When to do one, when not to do one. Here's kind of my take on it. So when you have like the smack bite, obviously you should do a yeast starter if you have a very high alcohol beer or high gravity beer. And I think kind of the spot, and people may argue with me on this, that's why, is that if it's like above 1060 or something like that, or 1065, that's when you really want to start looking at doing yeast starter. If you're going to consider not doing one, you probably should, if you have a liquid yeast. If you're using a dry yeast, you don't really have to worry about that because there's a lot more cells in a dry yeast packet. Now, what are some other instances where you may want to use a yeast starter? Well, if, let's say, you have a white labs tube and you don't know if it's any good, or you have some dry yeast and you don't know it's any good, you could, and you're not, they say don't do a starter with dry yeast, but you could. You absolutely could do a starter with a dry yeast if you have an old packet of yeast and you're like, oh, I'm not sure if this is any good. Well, it'd be better to try it out, right? Well, that's what a yeast starter would let you do. You just boil up a little bit of wort, get one of those Erlenmeyer flasks, boil up a little wort, and just chill the wort and put it in that container. Then put some sanitized aluminum foil over the top. You want to let a little air into this. In this case, it's okay to have a little bit of air. Put an airlock on there, and you'll need to for like the next few hours. Every time you walk past the flask, give it a good swirl so it can suck some oxygen in. If you got old dry yeast in there, and if it's fermenting, well, then the yeast is good, and then now you have even better yeast because it's fermenting, it's working, so you can pitch that in, and not a big deal. If you have if you have a white yeast packet and you want to make sure it's good and you smack it, you could do it the day before and put it in a starter and just make sure everything's good. Sometimes those packs won't inflate right away. Sometimes it may take a couple days for anything to even happen from that yeast. I accidentally bought a white yeast packet that was over 6 months old. Well, that's probably one of those times, and because they don't recommend that you really use them, they recommend that you use them within 6 months of the manufacturing date, which they put right on the front. And this one was outside of that. It was like 9 months, and that yeast did not take off. The packet didn't inflate. It just didn't work well. But even after I pitched it, I finally just decided to pitch it, and I'd wait a few days, and the third day it finally kicked off. But that would have been one that would have been good to smack the day before, give it a couple hours, if it doesn't inflate, make a yeast starter out of it, see if it'll do anything. If it still didn't do anything, well, the day you're brewing, if you have a local access to yeast, you can go get some more yeast to make sure, be safe. Me, in most cases, I could do that. If I had a yeast starter and went, nope, this yeast isn't any good, well, I go back to the brew shop and buy some dry yeast or something. And I try to keep a little bit of emergency dry yeast on hand, like Stayfail stuff. USO5 and SO4. That could pretty much cover the big part of the spectrum if you need something to just ferment and fill in because your yeast, that special yeast you bought, didn't work or something. And I know there's going to be a lot of people that may argue with what I have to say about any of this, but I think there's some merit here to what I've said. A lot of times I don't think I've ever had issues with dry yeast, but sometimes you get maybe you have an expired packet. All right, that may be one. And I think I've read somewhere that about 4% of the packet dies every month, or something like that. So what's it going to hurt to make a starter? If you have the extra malt lying around, just make a quick starter up and see what happens. And if everything goes okay, well, you have good healthy yeast there. So, well, that's all I got for you this week. Looks like tonight Jake and Dar will be casting a special New Year's Eve cast. So if you watch the cast on Vaughn Live, go ahead and check that out. It'd be vaughnlive.tv/JakeandDar. I'll probably be doing something tomorrow. I don't know yet. So a New Year's thing, kind of everyone chill out, relax, be hungover from New Year's Eve sort of thing. Anyway, I guess the coffee porter will have been siphoned into secondary. Still trying to work on this keg so I can get the bitter. The bitter was put into secondary last week, but I'm waiting for this thing to get empty, run out of this stuff so I can put it in there. That'd be a good session beer to have on keg, I think. And the coffee porter, I'll put secondary for a few weeks and probably bottle. So anyway, I think that's all I have for you. Have a happy new year. Keep brewing great beer. Cheers, 17.